everyone. Welcome to our stream and thank you for your patience. It is Bookstore Romance Day, and so today we are going to be recommending some of our favorite romance reads. And our team members are upstairs getting our live stream set up in the space. If you are local, all Romance Day reads, so anything that is a romance book, is 10% off in store. We also have a curated list available on our website. We are the Novel Neighbor, so we are a brick and mortar women-owned bookstore in St. Louis, Missouri. And we're so excited. Bookstore Romance Day is one that we've been absolutely waiting for, and it's been heavy on our list. And we've already had so many fun recommendations today. We have many things running in the store. So 10% off all romance titles, which is super fun. We have a bunch of exclusive Bookstore Romance Day merchandise. We have some freebies, some giveaways of some old advanced readers copies, as well as some special pre-orders. Are we up and running upstairs?
Almost. I can't find the live on YouTube.
Very cool.
Do you know how to find live on YouTube?
Yeah, do you want to trade?
I found us.
We're just telling everybody what we're up to today.
Okay. Hi. You've met Cassie. I'm Stephanie. Today has been awesome and wild in all of the best ways. Sorry, I'm just positioning you so you have the best background. Cassie and I have been really looking forward to this day, as everyone else in the bookstore. So we are so excited that you're here. We're streaming upstairs, which is what we're trying to figure out because I'm doing a bad job of finding us on YouTube. But I'm going to get started. Cassie and I will be sharing some of our favorites. We have curated so many different lists for today. So please know, Cassie and I could not possibly talk about all the romance books that we love in 45 minutes, which is what we're attempting to do right now. So there is a curated list. If Cassie didn't already say some of this, there's a curated list online of books that are 10% off today. If you're not able to join us in the store, if you're able to join us in the store, all of romance is 10% off, as well as some YA. There's 15 different YA romance titles that are also 10% off. So we have an awesome lineup planned. That curated list online is, if you want to know other books that we've loved and haven't seen, that's happening upstairs. Yeah, let's talk about some books. Okay, first of all, this is a book that I believe we've already sold out of in the store. And you've probably seen us talk about it. And this is why I can't possibly go through a romance bookstore day without talking about this book. I have an advanced reader copy, or I would put it on the shelf and try to sell it. But you are welcome to order it from us online. And we will eventually be able to get in if you're able to join us in the store. Do you get it up and running?
Yeah, you just needed to refresh the page.
I sure did, didn't I? Well, I was just getting ready to talk about my first book. So thanks for coming back down.
I like that you were just going for it.
I was like, I don't know. I just needed to refresh the page.
Girl, go. You're all
okay. I was just explaining that people can order this book online.
Oh, delightful.
Because we're already sold out of it, and I'd give up this copy, but it's an advanced reader copy, and we can't sell it.
Got it.
Neon Gods. This book brings me a lot of joy. This is a book that we featured in a couple different places, and because I love it so much. It is, in short, a Hades and Persephone retelling. I know people ask, just to get ahead of this question, I know people ask, what is it in comparison to A Touch of Darkness? And I have not, do you want to move it closer? Is that what you're, there we go. I have not read A Touch of Darkness. I'm going to be completely honest. I didn't know that I was into Hades and Persephone retellings until this book happened. So they're still on my list. I'll get there. This is basically, Katie Robert is amazing. We've also done an Instagram Live with Katie, so you can go check that out. Unspeakably Hot is what Entertainment Weekly calls it, and that's true. It's basically modern day Mount Olympus. A mixture of like people who come into power as like one of the gods, like through like hereditary lineage, and people who are voted on by the other people. So like in this example, Demeter, Persephone's mom, is voted on by the people versus like Hades and Zeus both inherit their positions. Persephone runs away. She crosses the river Styx. She didn't even think Hades existed. Like he's basically been cast out of Mount Olympus. No one knows anything of him. He's a myth. And of course, like they fall in love. Hades is a really complex, wonderful character with a lot of very, very steamy sex scenes. And it's very exhibitionist sex, in case people want to know. And it's just really, really good. So Katie is also doing more in the series now because Persephone has siblings, 3 other sisters. And so if you like get into this, she is building out every other of Persephone's sisters that you're introduced to, and I'm very excited about it. So Neon Gods, like I said, I think we're already sold out of this one in the store because it was on my favorite shelf and I didn't see it there most of the morning, and that's because I can't stop selling this book and I'm so sorry. Cassie, you want to tell us one of yours?
Yeah, you started really hard, so I'm going to go lighter.
Great, yeah. Like, I really went for it with my first one.
No, I love that.
I love it so much. And I also warned the people that, like, we couldn't possibly talk about all of our favorites.
Oh, yeah. So what I want to say is that my favorite romance, I think, is actually a YA, which is very special and very fun. So I love YA romance. I think.
Realized, can we switch sides?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Don't you like this side more?
I don't mind either way. Would you like to switch sides? Great.
You're always on that side and I'm always on this
Listen,
side.
I have no preference. I know what my face looks like from every angle. Okay. So
I'm just so used to looking at. Anyways, I'm so sorry.
So my favorite romance is definitely YA, and I read this when I was a teenager, but I've reread it recently, and it 100% held up. So it's a great one if you are trying to find a book to read with your teenager, or
I love that.
yeah, it's a good buddy read. Because it's YA, there's definitely no graphic sex scenes or anything that you need to be worried about. In that, it's
not like me on
That's correct. There's yes, and it is Anna and the French Kiss. So this book came out 2005, like mid 2000s. So definitely a while ago. And this collector's edition just came out last October, and it's got this beautiful sprayed edge. The pages are just like stunning and glossy. Like it's just gorgeous. We have both. I believe that
she sold it to me.
We have one of these in stock.
Yes.
It's on my favorite shelf, but we also have regular paperbacks in stock. If you're like, I can't read a hardback, that one exists too. I just wanted to show you my pretty copy. So the long and short of it is that Anna is the daughter of like a Nicholas Sparks style romance writer. So her dad is a romance novelist, and he writes like really cheesy love stories that Anna does not identify with at all. And she also thinks he's kind of a jerk. And because he has recently made this money, he decides that he's going to send Anna from Georgia to an American exchange student school in Paris, because he wants his daughter to be cultured. And Anna, it's for her senior year of high school, which I cannot imagine having to move schools my senior year to a country in which I do not speak the language, but that is the premise. And Anna is...
If it was going to be any country, I love France.
Exactly. And like, that's what everybody in her life is telling her. And she just had developed this crush on this boy, and like her best friend is there. She's so close with her younger brother. So she's mad that she's going. And what I loved about this is that Paris is really, it's a character in the book because it's just so steeped in it. You'll get some really good landmark discussions. You'll get like the whole thing is a big tour. So when I went to Paris, I just went to different scenes from the book because that was like my main understanding of Paris. Like, so Point Zero is like a big part of it. The romance between Anna and St. Clair, who is the love interest, is so good. And St. Clair is like this short British boy who's just like so charming. And so like, I was all about it growing up, and I'm still all about it now. And this actually sparked a YA romance trilogy from Stephanie Perkins, Lola and the Boy Next Door, and Isla and the something. And all of them are wonderful. Anna's the original, and I would highly recommend.
Also, as you're watching with us, feel free to drop like your favorite romance. Mm-hmm. We'd love to find out what you're reading or like what's on your TBR. And we will be mentioning some pre-orders that we think you should submit.
Yes, so absolutely.
And we're also going to talk fast because we only have a half hour left because things are wild today and it's awesome. Okay, I'm going to go back to a light one.
Great.
If you are somebody who is like, I think I want to dip my toes into the romance pool, but I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy it. The Lost Manuscript. And I also thought of it because it has the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, that's funny.
Like, it's perfect. The Lost Manuscript is so good. It is, I'm trying to think what I would compare it to, and I honestly don't know. But basically the premise of it is that, first of all, it's all told in letters back and forth to each other.
I love that.
Which is like just a delightful way to uncover a storyline.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Where basically this woman finds this manuscript in a hotel drawer and she tries to return it to its original owner. When she does get it back to its original owner, that's who the two people are talking back and forth. He's basically like, I lost this 30 years ago and someone finished it. Like he can see the cutoff point of like where he was and where someone finished it. And then there's all kinds of notes in the margins as well. I'm going to finish talking about this book and I'm gonna run away 1 second. And so she just becomes attached with figuring out who else has interacted with this manuscript, what has this meant to other people, and so it just becomes this big adventure, and you get all these other storylines about who else like this manuscript has meant something for, who like left at this location for this reason, and you actually don't even know for most of it like what the manuscript even is. You just know what it's meant to people. So it's really lovely. It is a small hardcover that is worth it. I feel like sometimes you have to justify a hardcover. This is it's beautiful. It's a beautiful like bookish book. So if you are a bookish person who likes bookish books, this is that one. I'll be right back.
Okay, great. The next one on my list, so I don't know who else watched the Olympics. So every time the Olympics happen, I become obsessed with gymnastics and I feel like I know everything about gymnastics and then I forget about it until the trials are happening the next time. So for those of you who are still a little bit on your Olympics high, I just read Head Over Heels by Hannah Orenstein, and this is a gymnastics romance, which is pretty much the most fun. I'm just gonna come in here. So the premise is that, and Hannah, what I really liked about this book, Hannah was a gymnast for a long time. And so the gymnastics in the book are very accurate and it's very fun to read about gymnastics from the point of view of somebody who did it. It came out in 2020, right before when the Olympics were supposed to be. Obviously they were postponed. But because like sometimes authors will write a book about a buzzy topic when the topic is buzzy. What I liked about this one was that it felt more relevant because she had been a gymnast herself. So the concept of the book is that our main character, Avery, was going to go to the Olympics herself and sustained an absolutely awful injury. And so she goes back to her hometown to kind of figure out what she's supposed to do next. And this trainer at the gymnastics gym is there. His name is Dimitri. Ryan. So sorry. Got all of my characters mixed up. His name is Ryan. And so she and Ryan start working at the gymnastics gym again to, we're talking about Head Over Heels.
Oh my gosh. We love Head Over Heels.
So they work at the gym to coach another one of the gymnasts into going into the Olympics. And again, I love any friends to lovers romance. I also think that this dealt with issues within USAG, like the Larry Nassar issue. So the sexual assault that was very prevalent. It touches on that as well as kind of the really huge mental and physical feats that we put on our gymnasts, which is something that Simone Biles brought up really eloquently at the Olympics this year. So I would suggest this definitely for somebody who wants a romance, but wants it to be a little bit more as well. Not saying that there's anything wrong with just a pure romance, but I really love when there's another plot that is going to hold me. Would you like to do a book skis? You want me to do another one?
I'm coming. I'm here.
Listen, we're having a lot of fun today, but there's a lot of running around.
And now we're done running around because now every laptop has a charger, friend, including yours.
Oh, nice. Is it set up?
Yeah. It's right there.
Okay, perfect.
And then we'll switch it out. Okay. So, yeah, this is the next one I'm going to talk about.
Great.
Hanakon carries on. This is something you might recognize the cover or the author from Aisha at Last, which is a Pride and Prejudice retelling. And it's delightful and it's great. Pride and Prejudice retellings are not always my favorite. That's just not, for whatever reason, that's not my genre. I'm a big Jane Eyre retelling fan.
I felt that, except Written in the Stars was so wonderful.
Is that a Pride and Prejudice retelling?
Like, very loose. But their names are Elle for Elizabeth and Darcy.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's really cute.
I don't know why I didn't make that connection.
Listen, it's cute.
Well, this is the You Got Mail retelling.
Oh. Which everybody chose You've Got Mail.
I know, which everyone chose You Got Mail on Facebook as your favorite. Like Meg Ryan, when we were trying to help you, like we have a quiz on Facebook and Instagram if you want to figure out like another round of suggestions of like, and everyone's been choosing You Got Mail. So this is the book for you.
Yeah, that's so fun.
It is, Mindy Kaling is already going to star in it as a movie.
Is she producing it or is she starring in it?
I'm pretty sure she's starring in it.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure she's starring in it. I could be wrong. I could stand corrected. Feel free to correct me. Fact check me. But like basically the main character in this runs a podcast, and then also like instead of a bookstore in You Got Mail, it's a restaurant, like a family restaurant, and someone's trying, like a developer's coming in and trying to buy up the area. I think it's in Toronto, unless I'm blanking. Yeah, the Golden Crescent neighborhood in Toronto. And instead of like email, like Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks, it's a podcast that she runs that someone has been a loyal fan of and has been talking to her in the comments of the podcast. Super fun. So like you do have
everyone loves this.
It's so fun. So like this is like an example of that, like the text stream that you get of them talking on the podcast. It's already like literally chapter 1 you're in on their like tension and this, because like he wants to very early on he's like, I would exchange personal information, like we've been talking for months, like do we ever want to like text even or like meet in person? And she's just like, I have so much going on that like that's just not a complication that I can have enter in. And so she doesn't want to. And you're already like, I'm in and I need them to talk to each other. So this is super, super fun. If anyone is watching upstairs in the store, there's no other copies of this on the shelf but this one, but you're welcome to buy this one.
We will bring it upstairs.
Yes, I will bring it up for you.
Okay. I'm going to talk about a very popular book from this year, but I think there's a chance that you haven't read it, and if not, maybe it's sitting on your TBR and you've been waiting to figure out if it...
Bump that up.
Right. So Casey McQuiston, an all-time fave, and they only have 2 books out, but I love both of them, and I Kissed Shara Wheeler, which is their 3rd book, just got announced, and you can pre-order it on our website.
That's YA?
It is a YA.
Yes.
It's a YA romance. But this one is new adult and definitely has sex scenes, so not a YA. So Casey McQuiston wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue. That was their first book. Red, White, and Royal Blue, of course, is about the first son of the United States falling in love with the Prince of England.
Which if you haven't read that, you do need to add that.
You absolutely should. It is so, so good. I didn't talk about it because I felt like everybody has read that.
No,
and also, if you haven't read it and you're like, well, everybody's read it, sometimes I put off reading books because of the hype. I would say that's one. It's just such a good palate cleanser. So if you like are reading it in between 2 more difficult books or whatever, I think it's like a wonderful, it'll read really quick. It's so fun. So One Last Stop has a very different premise. Our main character, August, which we're in August right now. Very fun.
That is fun.
Yeah. Is kind of like a spy kid. Like she grew up investigating the disappearance of her mother's brother. And so she has had like a very strange childhood. She's been moved all over the place. She doesn't have a lot of friends. She doesn't have a lot of roots. She moves to New York City for the first time, and immediately you fall in love with her world because her roommates are absolutely funny and wild and like creates a little pocket of an understanding. I love rom-coms with strong ensemble casts, and this is definitely that. And she starts working at this pancake diner, and she's going to Brooklyn College, and so her commute is on the Q train, and that is super important because our romantic lead in this, Jane, August keeps meeting Jane on the Q train, and you will come to find out that there is a big plot regarding Jane and why Jane dresses like Jane's from the 70s and why Jane is always on the train when August is on the train. It's very fun. There's magical realism elements in this. It's really rooted in the New York queer scene, which means that you get like very fun drag shows, and there's romances between sub-characters and side characters, like romances that I was just as invested in as the main romance, to the extent that I'm like, Casey, can you write me that, please? It is.
Do you think it's fair to say, like, if someone has read Red, White, and Royal Blue, that they're very different books?
Yes.
Like, to adjust expectations accordingly?
Yes, and what I would say, so I was just talking to people upstairs about this. What I liked about Red, White, and Royal Blue was because you have an understanding of the presidency and you have an understanding of the crown, it sets its own stakes. Like, you know, it is a big deal if the first son and the prince of any major country fall in love. Like, you know what that's going to be in the British tabloids, you know what that's going to be like on Twitter. So there's no need to establish stakes. It kind of reads like fan fiction because we know what we're playing with here. With this one, because Casey crafted the world, and it's New York City, it's not like Casey had to come up with the concept of New York, but there's a magic system within this book. There's a ton of side characters. There's many, like we're juggling way more balls. I think it's pulled off really well. I don't think that it's necessarily the same book for both. Yeah, I think that people have gone into One Last Stop expecting it to be like a sequel to Red, White, and Royal Blue, which it definitely is. Definitely is not. Though I believe that you will still enjoy it.
Shout out to Maya,
who just started. Yes. And if you don't have a copy,
late.
We do have copies in stock here.
Yes, we do.
Which one you want, girl?
Hit me with my Andy J. Christopher. Okay, so I would not stop talking about this book, and Cassie lovingly agreed to also read this book with me.
Oh yeah, it was such a stretch.
I know, it was really, I did a lot to convince her. So Cassie and I are two people who fall in this category where we watched Fleabag, specifically season 2 of Fleabag, in which the priest makes you, God, we make you TikTok right now. The priest gives you some feelings, her relationship with the priest. And that is what you get in Hot Under His Collar, which is technically the third in Angie Christopher is amazing. Love her. Pick up any of her books. Technically, this is the third and attached to the Nolan brothers? Siblings. Yes, I was like, it's not just the brothers. The Nolan siblings. They absolutely can be read standalone, like most trilogies in romance. Everything can be standalone. It's just like, oh, it's fun to hear that character discussed, like, tangentially. Like, I know them. The whole plot of this, as you might imagine from Hot Under His Collar, my discussion of a priest, is set around a priest, and his name is Father Patrick Dooley. And what is her name? Oh, Sasha. I was like, how could I forget that? Sasha has a thing for the priest, and she knows this. Everyone knows this. It's kind of funny. She thinks it's super weird that she has a thing for the priest.
Blushing.
Yeah, she thinks it's super weird that she has a thing for the priest, but whatever. And they're all in the same community. Like, her best friend's husband is his best friend. He is also like from that community. Like, his dad runs a local bar. His brother is around. And he has been doing a lot to like help the community around them. He started because of like where they live. Like, he started a K-5 like school system to help kids in the community have access to education and like raise test scores, and they get all this attention for this, but they don't have the money for it. And so herein lies like the problem. Sasha is a like fundraiser. So of course she's gonna have to work with Father Patrick to do fundraising. So like kind of think like Sister Act-ish kind of too. And because her best friend, I don't want to ruin like any parts of the plot, even though you find it out very early. Like, basically you can tell where it's going as soon as you start reading it, because her best friend's not gonna be able to help with it. So it's gonna be these two working very closely together. Super fun. Why I wanted to talk about this today is because we cannot go through Romance Bookstore without talking about the fact that we have a romance book club. We have a hybrid model for all of our book clubs right now, which means that we meet in a room for those who are comfortable meeting in person, currently masked per the mask mandate that we are abiding to by. Couldn't come out with the words. So we meet in a room, but then we also have a projector that projects, that also has sound in it. And so we are able to live stream the Zoom, and guests who can join virtually via Zoom. So you don't have to be comfortable meeting in person, and you also don't have to be physically located in St. Louis to participate. It's been super fun. We did that for our August book clubs. It's gone really, really well. This is our romance book club pick for September. Our next book club meeting is September 2nd, which someone reminded me upstairs is in 2 weeks, and that was terrifying to me. Just because that makes it feel like September is so close. Not because I'm not excited for book club, but I was like, oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I don't know where the summer went. So this is our pick, and And
we're very excited.
It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a great discussion. Oh, that's what I was going to say. We do also, if you want to find more information about all of our book clubs, you can go online. We have a whole book club section because we have a lot of incredible book clubs. And then we also have Facebook groups that you can join to participate. We love to have conversation. So,
and our book club picks are always 20% off. And so this one is on special sale today.
So, and to be clear though, just 20%. You don't get to like do 20% plus 10%. It's just 12%. It's worth it. We promise. Okay, Cassie. Oh, also check out Cassie's TikTok that she made about the book this week. It was great. Just check out our TikTok.
I'm just embarrassing myself on the internet.
It's fine.
2008. Okay. I was not born in 2008. That's just when I started using the internet. Just to be clear.
Just to clarify. If you thought.
Okay, so my next pick is one that is like near and dear to my heart.
It is. I'm so excited.
I love everything that Alexis Hall writes. This is his newest.
I was just going to say, should we clarify for the people who don't know, Alexis Hall is a man?
Alexis Hall's a man. And Alexis often writes gay male-male romances. And so this one.
A la Boyfriend Material.
A la Boyfriend Material and Glitterland. Rosalind Palmer Takes the Cake is the first in what is kicking off, I think, a new series. And it's Great British Bake Off themed. They don't call it the Great British Bake Off for obvious reasons. But our character, Rosalind Palmer, is a competitor on basically the Great British Bake Off. And there's also another Great British Bake Off book right now. Do you mind handing that to me? It just came out this week, and it's called Battle Royale. And so I would pick
this is your jam.
If you're like, this is your jam.
You see what I did there? I see.
So this one is like competitors who fall in love, and this one is like a woman who Paul Hollywood was a jerk to while she was a competitor on the Great British Bake Off, and now they're like enemies, but now they're going to compete against each other to win a cake baking competition separately from GBBO. So this is like your Paul Hollywood grumpy man, and this is like a sunshine princess lady.
Why do you keep saying Paul Hollywood?
Because the judge on the Great British Bake Off's name is Paul Hollywood.
I was like, that's not the main character.
No. The judge on the main character's name is Paul Hollywood.
Please, someone else tell me that you were confused. Don't leave me hanging over here. Don't make me feel silly.
I'm thinking that somebody didn't spend quarantine exclusively watching 80 plus hours of the Great British Bake Off on repeat, and that's just not where I'm at.
I nerded out even harder than that, and I watched the MCU universe for the first time.
Well, you know, I formerly worked in comics, so girl, also, I got you.
Just the MCU.
So Rosalind Palmer Takes the Cake is like delightful. Rosalind is bisexual.
Is it really Rosalind or is it Rosaline? I want clarification on this.
I've always said that name, Rosalind.
I don't know.
Okay.
What do you think? Vote in the comments.
And so she is bisexual. Both of the love interests in the book are men. However, she has very prominent female exes that come up quite a bit. And like queerness is definitely woven into the text, which is something that I love when I'm reading romance. Alexis writes so delightfully British, and he's like all of his stuff is so sweet and so charming, and like so like even when it gets steamy, it's steamy sweet.
Who doesn't want a steamy sweet?
It's a steamy sweet. This romance book is a steamy sweet, and I really recommend it.
And there's going to be more.
And so this one is like kicking off the
you get a whole series.
Romance series, which I'm assuming all of them could be read as standalones. Because
that's so good for your Great British Bake Off soul.
With different competitors. I love the Great British Bake Off. And there's like the two guys she's torn between. Like Elaine is like, he's like very like fancy. And then Harry Dobson's an electrician.
Everyone take a minute for Rosalind. I just want to know. I'm sure Alexis has talked about it somewhere and I can get clarification.
Mm-hmm.
I always question myself. That's what I'm saying. Okay. This next book I'm going to take the jacket off of because I just feel like people need to know. This is one of those that has a beautiful cover underneath. This is Blackout. I'm sorry, it's very shiny. So it's hard to see. It says Brooklyn on here and not Blackout because it is all
takes place in Brooklyn.
And then Manhattan's on the back. But so it's a beautiful cover. This is what the cover of it looks like if you're like, I would like to recognize it on the shelf. Thank you, Stephanie. That's what it is. And this is like, how could we not talk about this today? There are so many incredible
YA
Black
authors.
women. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure every single one. I'm saying that as I read this book, and now I'm like, I have to remember every single. But yeah, it's
Not all of the characters are women.
Yes,
and so
sorry.
It's
Strong clarification on that.
It's
But-
like Black Teen Joy is the...
So just all of them are Danielle Clayton, Tiffany D. Jackson, Nick Stone, Angie Thomas, Ashley Woodfolk, and Nicola Yoon. So like huge names that came together to make this story collection that is that are love stories. And they're just really delightful. I was like in the moment I opened it, and Tiffany D. Jackson is first. And
Which one was your favorite? I also read this book.
I don't know. Which one was your favorite?
I love anything Ashley Woodfolk writes because she does write very sapphic, lovely books, and like her prose is just so lyrical and beautiful. I also loved the one about the two boys, the basketball player.
Which one?
I think that might have been Nick Stone's. No, it was the second one. So it was whoever did the second one.
Nick Stone, Mask Off.
Yeah, Mask Off, Nick Stone. Wow.
Sorry, we're really all over the place. I just get really excited about this book.
Oh, it's so lovely. And it's also a phenomenal audiobook if you listen on Libro FM. That's how I listen to it.
I
It was
never
really,
think to listen to audiobooks.
it was such a quick read on audio. And I love that because like I read it in between other things. So I'd listen to like one of the short stories and then I'd swap it out with another. Like it was a palate cleanser for me.
That makes sense. I mean, I do feel like people need to give short stories a chance. Because I feel like not everyone thinks they're not quite everyone's cup of tea. And this is definitely one of those of like, if you've been also thinking about dipping your toes in short stories, I would totally recommend this one. None of them are, I was just like verifying, none of them are really more than like 15 pages. So like really easy to sit down and be like, I'm just going to read one of these in one sitting. And the Obamas are, is this the one they're turning into? Yeah.
Yeah. The Obamas have optioned this for their production company to turn into, I believe, a miniseries is what either one of those movies where it's like Love Actually and everything moves together, or a miniseries, because all the stories do connect, which is another fun reason to like read them all. Is that at the very end, basically there's a party and everybody's trying to get to it for different reasons and in different ways. And there's a blackout in New York City. It's like hot.
I missed the main thing of like it's all taking place in the dark.
Yes, there's a blackout in New York City, and all of these couples. One of them is enemies to lovers. Some of them are friends to lovers. You get all your different
tropes. Like it's basically like a taste of a little bit of everything. And we wanted to mention it because this is one of our like YA titles that we curated. That is part of the like 10% off. So since there's so many, it's just so everyone needs to read this.
Yeah, it's really really delightful. And also all of the individual authors have wonderful
I know, I was just like looking
well.
through all of them. They should sound familiar, but also all of these authors have books like if you have not read them. Go do it.
Which one am I doing next? How are we doing on time?
We've got a little bit of time. Not much.
A little bit of time? Okay. I'm just going to very briefly mention Sonali Dev has
we can just do some brief mentions.
Has a 3-part romance series. The first one is Pride and
I bring up Pride and Prejudice retelling.
Is Pride and Premeditation. The second one.
No, it's Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors.
Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors.
Pride and Premeditation is a YA mystery. But
oh my gosh.
Also, you should read that.
So there's Pride and Prejudice one. There's a Persuasion one, which is about chefs. And then In Sense and Sensibility. I just love, she brings her Indian heritage into each of the stories.
Persuasion.
There we go. She brings her Indian heritage into each of these books so beautifully. They're written very fun, and they're very, very quick. And for a Jane Austen lover, I love that she went beyond Pride and Prejudice. Yes. So that would be my quick Sonali Dev.
If you're going to invest in some Jane Austen retelling, this is the series that you should invest in.
Yes. This one's my favorite.
Do we have another like must mention of your file before I talk about my pre-orders?
No, talk about your pre-orders.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. This is technically would count as a pre-order today, but it comes out on Tuesday. So
pre-order it now.
We can't like not talk about Sarah McLean on Romance Day. Yeah. Like some of the best historical romance that's being written and amazing female characters. This is Bombshell, which will be part of the new.
And they're very spicy.
Very spicy. This is part of the new Hell's Bells book 1. I am just getting into Sarah McLean. Just to be completely honest with everyone. And so I do understand that I'm going to forget the series. I did not read the other series before I read this, and I was perfectly fine in everything that I experienced. I do think it is connected to another series that Sarah has. So we can drop that when I figure out which one it is. And I'm so sorry. I just don't know what it is. But this is something where like you're in right away because like you find out about her and then it's like her love has been shipped across, like her love like left and traveled somewhere. And I don't think there's like no explanation. You're like, okay. So it's just like one of those of like, you're a star-crossed lover. One, I feel like it gives you those vibes right away. But then like, again, Sarah just writes the best female characters, in my opinion.
We only have 2 minutes left. My one pre-order plug in the ARC, the advanced reader copy is upstairs, is for Payback's a Witch by Lana Harper. Please just like type it in as I'm saying it. It's
Payback's a Witch.
Payback's a Witch. So the basic premise is that it's like John Tucker must die, Sapphic witches enter the Triwizard Tournament is my real quick pitch. It is so fun and it is so well written. Like honestly, really good magic world building and a very steamy romance.
And the last one,
oh my gosh.
You know I told you I was going to have to.
Just so everybody knows, we are going to, if you stay on, we have a live stream happening with Alexandria Bellafleur, author of Written in the Stars and Hang the Moon, happening in 15 minutes.
We're going to take a brief 15-minute intermission, and then we'll be back. But also, if you like Mamma Mia and ABBA and want a Mamma Mia retelling, Emma Lord has a YA coming out in January called When You Get the Chance.
Great. Thank you all so much for joining us. We've had the most fun. Please come in for Romance Bookstore Romance Day.
You still have time. We're open till 6 today if you're in St. Louis. You can order online. That page will be live as well if you're not from St. Louis. And we have so many other books. You're also welcome to drop comments in. Drop some questions in the comments if you're looking for Rex. We'll be happy to check that on this as well and give you some of our, if there's something specific you're looking for.
Perfect. Talk soon. Stay on.